Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Price to Sell podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Campoli. And today we have a wonderful guest, a lovely guest, a very good friend of mine, actually. He goes by the name of David Perruzza. David's with the Foundation Group. The other two incredible members of the Foundation Group are Enzo and Paul Perruzza, also here off camera. But I'd like to thank you guys for coming.
Thanks, Matt.
Anytime. I've been looking forward to this one.
And thank you for giving me your spot on the couch.
That too, yes. I gave Paul my spot.
David.
Sorry. I already confuses everyone. I gave David my spot, and don't usually do that. So I'll shout out to the hammers outside. But thank you, Dave, for coming.
Thanks, buddy.
Let's give everyone a little brief background on the Foundation Group and who you guys are.
So obviously, dad, brother, myself. It's a family business. It started, many years ago when my father started in the real estate industry in the 70s. He moved from being a musician into becoming a full-time realtor.
And let's give Enzo a shout out. It's his birthday.
And I was gonna shout him out, Matt, but thank you. Yeah, it is his birthday today, so this date is actually very special to us because it is his birthday. And to be honest with you, when we were revising and revamping our team and our brand and our strategy, we needed to have it, heavily rooted in my father. Mm-hmm. And, Foundation is a testament to him as being the underpin of our business and sort of how we grow and how we develop. And obviously Foundation being, the strongest part of a house or a structure.
Definitely.
It's the part that they lay first. So,
special.
Multi-meaning for sure, but a lot of this is because of him. And so the way we came into the business, my brother Paul was in the financial services industry. He worked as a day trader for TD Bank. I always had a corporate job, but I initially had a background in hospitality. My dream was to open up a restaurant. I worked in many restaurants for many years. I actually had a nightclub for a short period of time. And then I kind of started in the corporate world and just kept working in the corporate world for about 20 years or so. And then after a period, I started realizing that, there's stability, there's money. But at the end of the day, we grew up in the industry with my father. My brother made the choice earlier on to get into it full time. I then took the leap to become a full-time realtor 2 years ago. But was in the industry for 15 years prior to that, more passively working part-time. And so now as a group, as a team, we've sort of converged and really strategized on what we do best, more importantly, what we like to do in the industry, because you can do so much and you can cater to so many different sides of the business. And at this point in time now, our core focus is commercial real estate, residential resale, and pre-construction.
Yeah, and you guys have a really good dynamic.
Yeah.
Having the different levels of experience, plus different levels of experience in different areas.
Yeah.
It all ties in, right?
It does.
Like the whole business side with Paul, hospitality side.
Yeah.
And then just the amount of experience Enzo brings to the table.
A funny story, my dad actually missed my birth because he was writing his final real estate exam.
And was that not worth it?
It was totally worth it. I
job,
applaud
Enzo.
that, as a matter of fact.
Enzo, totally worth it.
And also worth noting, Matt, my mom actually got her real estate license as well. I don't think she traded full time. She may have done some deals here and there, but we are literally a family of real estate professionals.
I love that.
And so when you grow up in it and then you finally, take that step to get into it full time, it's great that we have the experience, but moreover, it's very important that we have each other. Like we always can trust the fact that we know we're in the right place at the right time, and looking out for each other and have that experience to sort of continue to expand the brand and the business.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. It's awesome that we've had a couple people come on here that have, just grown up in real estate families for generations, and it's just different when it's like that. So it's cool. It's something I'd love to create with a future family too. So it's it's awesome to hear.
It's a big statement.
And it is a big statement. Don't hold me to it. But and just for the record, everyone listening, Dave, Paul, Enzo, and I work in the same office.
Yep.
And so I've known them since I started my career. So it's really cool to have him on here with me right now, and super family oriented. We'll get into all that later.
Yeah.
But I do want to dig into the commercial side for a bit, because we don't really we haven't really spoken about commercial yet.
Yeah.
And, just for any agents out there maybe looking to get into the commercial game and stuff like that, it is a different ball game. I personally refer my commercial to you guys.
You do, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I've known my strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
But it's definitely one of your strengths. So you want to share some info on the commercial space?
Absolutely. I mean, commercial in general is a very different beast than residential or pre-construction or anything else. And I think the one main difference when you're in it, you realize very quickly that it's less of an emotional decision and more of a rational, financially driven decision to get into commercial real estate. These are investors. It's about percentages. It's about net returns. It's about potential and future revenue, cap rates, growth, and overall growing at a much greater velocity than potentially residential real estate can provide. So that's a good thing, because often, residential realtors, you get caught up in the emotion, right? Like, for example, the market that we just experienced in January and February, there was a lot of emotional buying and selling going on.
For sure.
We know that's changed a little bit. But with commercial real estate, you need to be very analytical. And so when it comes to numbers, again, having the fortunate situation to being working with my brother and my dad, that's all they do all day long. It's an analysis. It's a matter of understanding whether or not a net return or a potential purchase or sale is going to help your client and guide them through that entire process. The other thing with commercial real estate which is very different than residential, is you need to be motivated to get up and go and find opportunities.
Yeah, definitely.
Those opportunities, the right opportunities and the best opportunities, are often the ones that you never see listed, and are often the ones that some of the larger commercial specialists and organizations that we all well know of don't have and don't touch. So when you have a specific book of business, which we do on the commercial side, and you know exactly what your investor and or landlord, buyer or seller tenants are looking for, clients are looking for, you know exactly how to go and find those opportunities and bring them to them, versus waiting on something coming to market and then, being at the mercy of the market and everyone else that is vying for those opportunities.
Yeah.
And, it's funny, when I speak to my father specifically about these types of things, he's on the road all day. He's going out and searching out plazas. He's searching out, land assembly opportunities. He's searching out opportunities for our clients to continue to enhance their portfolio. The same with my brother. I mean, when you think about an office lease, it doesn't sound sexy, but you can do enough of those in a year to make an incredible living.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that not enough, I shouldn't say that. There's almost a specialty involvement in that side of the business. You need to know the numbers. You need to know how to structure leases. You need to know how to present that to both listing and selling clients and or landlords, because it takes a lot to bring the right people to the table for the deal. The other situation that you have to be mindful of if you're ever considering commercial real estate is the pace or the velocity in which the deals happen.
Yes.
They're a lot slower.
Definitely. Longer conditions.
Yeah. Some of the bigger deals that we've been involved in take a year and a half. I mean, at the end of the day, when the deal is done, it's lucrative. But if you don't have the patience, if you're not willing to sit through some of the more frustrating times where, at some points in times you feel the deal's going to fall through, what you can do to put it all back together. It just takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of mental stability to actually pursue that and actually be successful in it as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why
you don't do it.
That's why I don't do it. Yeah, I like the quick pace. I like that.
Yeah.
And you guys definitely have the patience for it. You've helped me out in many deals.
Yeah,
so it's been awesome. You guys have been great with help and everything.
Yeah.
what would be some, let's say someone looking to get into like the commercial side, like some tips to maybe stand out?
Come talk to us.
Talk. I think that's probably the only tip.
We're hiring. We're looking for team members now, actually both on the commercial and the residential side. But all kidding aside, tips to stand out. It's interesting because you don't see a lot of online presence of successful commercial realtors.
Definitely.
We've seen some, and they're doing a tremendous job. But presenting a 40-acre parcel of land on Instagram, may not be as sexy as a house tour of a $4 million mansion in Woodbridge or something.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is something that I think we will continue to see change and evolve over time as marketers in this industry become a little bit more savvy on the commercial side.
Yeah.
Understand that you need a lot of patience on the commercial real estate side as well. And know your numbers, because if your numbers are off, it could be, devastating for either the buyer or seller, depending on the deal. You need to know the math, and you need to know how the deals are structured to make sure that it's rewarding for everybody.
Yeah, I agree fully with that. It is a very analytical game.
It is, yeah.
And it's not something you could just get into, kind of half-ass it.
Yeah.
And close it up. So
yeah.
Takes a lot of actual focus, running your numbers properly.
A lot of spreadsheets.
I don't even know how to do work in Excel cell. So that says a lot.
No formulas, Matt?
I don't even know what a formula is. I haven't done math since grade 4. So
nice.
Yeah. But I want to segue into what I love about you guys is you pride yourselves on a mix of new world and then the old school.
Yeah.
With real estate. So like you mentioned to me before, keeping the human experience alive, because we see every day now, a lot of realtors just focus solely on social media, and they're trying to like keep up with a real trend or dance in front of a camera like TikTok.
Yes. We don't dance in front.
You guys don't dance, but you can.
We can.
You can dance. Yeah. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And but I think we need a balance in this industry.
We do.
And you guys are very conscious of that.
Yeah.
So I want to chat about mixing, because you have brought a pretty good marketing side of things on social media now.
Yeah.
Plus you do the whole, the whole in-person experience. So let's talk about blending both and how important that is.
Well, I'll kind of start by saying, when I was in high school, my dad had his own brokerage for a number of years. I was younger. I was in elementary school, and I would work at the office during the summer. I think he would just hire me just to get me out of the house. Like, I don't think he actually needed me to work in the business. But, I'm aging myself a little bit, but, these are the days when we didn't have the MLS system. We would get our listings printed and mailed to the office. And my job was to, rip them off of the booklet and put them in our binder. So we were prepared for when our clients actually came to the office to discuss buying or selling something.
It's crazy.
So we had clients coming in that office all day.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're in a brokerage now, you may never see a client all week, right? Everything is very, digitized and online, which I respect and I get, and we've evolved to. But back then, it was a very human experience, as we just talked about. And relationships mattered. And I believe that the number one, outside of how strong you are on social media or how great of a marketer you are, you need to understand how to build and foster relationships, because those relationships will carry you throughout a career in real estate, not just necessarily, a successful year or two, right? And in those older, those years prior, there was something called caveat emptor, right? Or buyer beware, where the seller had all of the information. The buyer just had to trust what the seller was saying, that it was true in real estate, car sales, electronics, any sort of major purchase where there was very limited amount of information available. You had to trust who was selling it to you. And so you were forced as a seller to build that trust. And that was known as, information asymmetry. We're now in a situation where it's information parity and beyond. Sometimes our clients have more information than we do, right? And you have to respect that, and you have to foster that. And if you can't work within, your client's level of knowledge, and perhaps contradicting things that they may or may not say about a specific transaction, you're just going to hurt yourself down the line. They'll move on to someone else.
Yes.
Right. So it's about having that relationship and then ultimately building that trust.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important things in this business.
Yeah.
Because a lot will just, that's back to focusing on the social media side.
Yeah.
They post and like, why is no one DMing me?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then if they do DM, it's like, maybe just a DM back instead of setting up a call, or maybe just a call and then instead of setting up an in-person meeting. But I think it's that human-to-human connection.
Yeah.
Which we will begin to start lacking more and more of as we go more online.
I hope not, but you're probably right.
I mean, I hope not as well.
Yeah.
But who knows with this metaverse stuff, and I don't even know what the hell's going on anymore. But yeah, I think it's super cool. Like, what are some, like, let's say old school kind of relationship building tactics that you guys utilize that you would say maybe not many people are doing anymore? Maybe it's like
pick up the phone.
There's a phone.
Just pick up the phone, right? Pick up the phone, make those phone calls. I think you've had quite a few amazing guests on here, right? And you learn from these people. And one of the simplest ways to start, generating business, and we all have very savvy CRM systems right now that will, prompt you to call people. Take advantage of that. Make 10, 15, 20 phone calls a day. Feel them out, see what they're doing. It doesn't matter if you know that their mother or cousin or brother-in-law is in real estate or knows a realtor. Maybe you can talk to them about something else that you're doing. Maybe it's a conversation about pre-construction. Maybe they know somebody that is looking at maybe buying commercial real estate, and you have that story, ready to go. So pick up the phone. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Now that we're out of, the mess that we were in for, a year and a half, 2 years, don't be afraid to go out and meet people for a coffee again, right? Have a handshake, see what they're up to. Things have changed. Where are they right now in their life stage, in their investment goals, in their real estate needs? Be friendly with people ultimately and have that personal one-on-one FaceTime. I think social media in general is a massive tactic, but it's a tactic in your marketing toolbox.
Yes.
And some people leverage it more than others. And the ones that don't, who are comfortable doing other marketing campaigns and have other strategies as part of their business, you have to respect that because it's what they know, it's what they like. And perhaps, changing the way they do business is actually going to be more of a shock than it is going to be a benefit, right? For example, I know there's a realtor in my neighborhood. I know he's on social media. I don't think you've ever seen him on social media, but he probably has 10, 15 different listings a month. You only see his signs, in his for sale and listing signs in our neighborhood. But he's involved. I've seen him putting his signs in the lawns himself. Like, you expect someone like that to have a huge team behind him.
Yeah.
Right. You can only imagine what he's like in person and how he treats his clients on a personal level.
Yeah.
And through that, you can almost guarantee yourself a future with that client versus ever worrying about them going elsewhere
Somewhere
for
else.
the service. Right?
Agreed. It's that long-term relationship.
It is.
Yeah, I agree. Super important. And like you mentioned before with the whole pandemic being over and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe some people don't or forget maybe they're just forgetting how to go out and maybe network.
Yeah. Social anxiety.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Definitely some social
really
anxiety.
Weird.
So let's talk to David, the hospitality guy, for a second.
Sure.
And let's what would be some great avenues where people can go out to maybe acquire some leads or business. Let's talk about that for a sec.
Well, I think at the end of the day, number one, get out the door, right?
Yeah.
Because leads are everywhere. And, I kind of wished in a way that I was trading in real estate when I was in the hospitality industry. Because you've had guests on here that leveraged those career paths and eventually, took over. And you were a barber and it was very similar. Like you had a service and you were catering to people and people came to see you because you did great work and it was you. But from a hospitality sort of synergy, it's, if you're out at a restaurant or you're out at a cafe, just don't be afraid to meet people. There's ways that you can introduce yourself. There's ways that you can start that conversation, and you never know where it's going to end up. From a business standpoint, networking events have always been fantastic, right? It could be a community event. It could be a meet and greet. It could be a business launch, to your close, personal friends or network of people. If you're comfortable meeting people and talking to them, and you're comfortable building new relationships, you can essentially do anything.
Yeah. Networking events.
You like them or no? Well, you were just
I
at
forgot
one.
about those things.
You were just at one.
I was at an interesting one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How was it?
Honestly, great networking.
Yeah.
Like one of the guys on the retreat is a builder.
Yeah.
And, a lot of synergies there.
Yeah.
Just meeting. For me, it's traveling. Like traveling anywhere, I always put myself in a position. People look at, it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
For example, a night out.
Yeah.
Some people may look at that as detrimental. It's like, why waste my time going out, maybe having a drink or two,
Yeah.
when I could be, online or something trying to DM people. I don't know. Who knows, right?
No, I understand.
Different perspective.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, I enjoy going in that environment because I want to meet at least 3 people that, that are similar minded, maybe, it can open doors for me.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I just did in Costa Rica. Like, it always just happens. I look for it, and it just finds its way to me.
Yeah, and maybe for those people who can't necessarily take a trip, or maybe don't have the financial capacity to do that, maybe it's when you do go out, you set that very small goal for yourself just to meet some new people.
Yeah.
And see where that goes. I mean, I get it. Sometimes people, when you go out and socialize and have dinner and whatever it might be, you want to turn off your business brain for a little while.
For sure.
And just relax and let off steam. But at the end of the day, what's the harm in having that conversation?
And where there's an opportunity. You could just,
you feel it.
You feel an opportunity and say, okay, let me put the business hat on again.
Yeah.
Dig this one up a bit,
you don't go right in and I'm in real estate and can I list your house?
Yes.
But as you get to know someone, you find those angles or those gaps in the conversation where maybe you can just have it, right? And
exactly.
It's no harm, no foul if it doesn't work, but at least you tried, right?
And it usually comes when you don't have expectations.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree with
you. If you go into things like, tonight I'm going to go meet 3 sellers. You're probably not going to meet 3 sellers. And you're going to be disappointed. And you're going to be anxious all night, you know? Or you go in, open mind, no expectations, see who we can meet.
I agree.
I might meet David, the amazing foundation group, one of 3 who can help me with pre-con, commercial, and resale.
There you go.
And also get me into some really nice restaurants.
Always.
I
always have your back.
He's one of my biggest hookups. So with all that being said, I'd love to chat about our brokerage as a whole.
Yes.
I don't think a lot of people even know where I work, to be honest. Okay. And how important it is to me, and our whole dynamic as an office. Our broker record, Joe Daddio, one of the biggest mentors out there for me. Same with you guys.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that and the importance of having like a really special dynamic and culture at an office.
So from my side of things, I essentially sort of followed my dad and my brother to the brokerage, and they were working with Joe, and in my opinion, they would probably never even think to go elsewhere because of how Joe operates his business at Royal LePage. And he's the type of broker whereby he provides you the environment to come in and do what you need to do or do what you want to do, and isn't over top of you trying to force things to happen. Yeah. But he does operate on an open door policy, as I'm sure you've understood that for a long time. Right?
Yeah.
And so you can go in and he's got so much experience and so much, such a wealth of knowledge where, any question can get answered. He never makes you feel as if, you're misstepping on anything like that, or wasting his time, I should say. Yeah. And he's put some good pieces together in the office where now we're taking a different approach to kind of form our own little networking group on listings and moreover pre-construction. And the pre-construction side of the brokerage is something that I think we're all benefiting from because of his relationships with the builders and things that we have coming down the pipeline. But I'm interested to hear your take. No,
for sure. If I can use an analogy, Joe is like the John Dutton of our brokerage. If anyone watches Yellowstone.
I do. It just finished.
Yeah. So he is definitely like John Dutton. Yeah. It's hilarious how he's just such a wise guy, and the way he teaches us lessons, super interesting. Like he'll just let me do something. He already knows the answer. Yeah. But he won't just give me the answer. Of course. He lets me go through all the motions, and I come back like, you're right again. Yeah. He's like, I know. I know. Been waiting for you to realize this yourself.
Yeah.
So he's cool in the way he operates and teaches, and I feel like I've learned at a much quicker pace in my career, just because of the way he is. Versus
I totally
like,
see that and feel that as well.
Yeah. Versus like, all right, you're gonna do this. Just go do this, and this. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's a very indirect approach. It's very interesting. I don't even know how to describe it.
But you also don't learn if he just tells you what
100%.
to do.
I agree.
Right?
I think, and we are very receptive of this.
Yeah.
The way he is. So it's awesome. And yeah, like David just mentioned, we do work with a handful of builders directly.
Yeah.
And Joe represents them directly. So we get amazing access through our office for a lot of projects, mainly freehold.
Yeah.
And in some very good communities.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of big projects coming up this fall in many different locations. So if anyone's looking to get into the freehold market, pre-con market, you can reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to help facilitate.
Yeah.
And but yeah, overall, and then I just want to touch on the family side of things. Like, we're literally like a family. It's amazing. It's I couldn't ask for anything more than that. It feels like home every single time I walk in the office.
Don't forget Fridays when my father brings in
Fridays,
lunch for everybody.
Mr. Enzo Perruzza brings in beef patties of all different types. Pasta, homemade at the office.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really special vibe, and super grateful for it. I'm happy to share it with you.
Yeah.
So, Mr. David.
Yes.
As we near the end here,
Okay.
I do like to always ask a very special question.
Okay.
And it's been a while since I've actually recorded. So since the last time you've heard our show last week to now, it hasn't been just a week. It's been some time. The market has shifted.
Yes.
I've been meditating in Costa Rica for 34 hours straight. So now that I'm back,
I can tell you're so calm, man.
Am I?
Yeah.
Good. That's the whole point. Yeah. But let's talk about market predictions.
Okay.
Although we don't know the future.
No.
Maybe some people do. I might now. But
yeah.
Market has shifted for sure.
Yeah.
So with all that, we're not in that crazy January, February, like, put a house on the market, it's sold within 3 minutes. It's shifted fully now. A lot of rules have come out, regulations, interest rates, foreign buyer tax, and even a big no to foreign buyers even purchasing.
Yeah.
What do you maybe foresee in the latter end of 2022, now being mid-April?
Yeah.
What's kind of a sense that you're getting where things are headed?
Okay, so I don't want to be elusive or evasive with my answer, because we all get asked the same question.
For sure, and
often.
we don't have a crystal ball.
Crystal ball doesn't exist. But I think at the end of the day, if I were to think back, when my father first started in this industry, and we had, and as a family or even as an individual or an investor, had continued to buy real estate over the years, there's no question that you're going to come out on top. I don't think this year, for like calendar year 2022, we're going to see much change. We're already starting to see more listings hit the market, which I think is good, because it alleviates a lot of stress on the buyer side. And I think people were just getting too fed up and leaving and just not wanting to participate. So it's going to hopefully bring some business back. But I think that, the next couple of years, I think immigration is going to play a big part of it. But what I do believe we will start seeing more of, and I think as industry professionals, we should start maybe promoting a little bit more, is, fractional ownership or syndications, whereby if you can't afford to get into the market today, but 2 or 3 or 4 other people that you know and trust and like that are in the same position as you, there's opportunities for you to step in as a group and start purchasing, whether it's, end user to move and or investment opportunities, pre-construction, stuff like that. So it's a pooling and leveraging of capital that we know exists and lendability that we know is there, but you come in stronger as a group versus as an individual.
Fully, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm sure we all can agree, long term, you got to look at real estate from a zoomed out lens.
You do.
Not so much like, okay, let me try and time the bottom, because you never will, right?
Never
so
will.
Even if things do start shifting now, if you're long term you're like a 5-10 year play, I think you're still really safe.
Yep.
In real estate.
Yeah, I agree.
And from a long term standpoint. So it's always a great perspective to have. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see for sure. We are now back to actually really marketing and selling a house.
Yes.
So a lot of these skills, especially from a relationship standpoint, communication, and being in front of our clients, are back.
Yeah.
And more important than ever.
I agree.
So hopefully you guys learned a lot from what David shared about that, because it's super important now.
That's why we see eye to eye.
That's why we see. And I'm actually currently looking at you in the eye right now.
Yeah,
so it's pretty crazy.
Mesmerizing me right now.
Yeah. Just got lost a bit. So as we end off here, anything big coming up for Foundation Group?
I mean, yes, as I mentioned earlier, we're at a point now where we'd like to bring on some help.
Nice.
I'm not sure if we understand or know what that help looks like, whether it's in the form of an assistant or more realtors that are perhaps, newish in the industry that want to work with an experienced group that touches multiple facets of the industry.
Agreed.
We just want to free up more of our time to do the relationship building and the networking and the calling, and we know we need to keep the pipeline full at all times. It's great that we can kind of pick up the phone and call people that we know and generate business, but at the same time, the more time we have to do that, the better off I think we're going to be long term. We recently, 3 months ago, sort of officially launched our pre-construction side of the business. We've got a page set up for that, specifically Foundation Group Precon, so check that out when you can, whereby now we are trying to select builders and projects that we like and love and we know we can actually get access to, which is obviously an issue, and starting to promote things like that. So if you're interested in pre-construction and need a resource, information, tips, tricks, but also projects, please check that out. And then, taking a page out of your book, adding more time, resources into our online presence from a marketing standpoint, right? We've actually learned quite a bit from you, as a matter of fact.
Thank you.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But, being more authentic, being more personable, like I don't think there's one picture of any of us on any of our pages up until now.
That's going to change.
Up until now.
Yeah.
So, and I realize that that's a critical step. And so, it's not, I think we had this chat earlier, it's not dancing on TikTok, but people just, it's good when they know who you are.
Exactly.
Because when we do have those in-person meetings, it's a face to the name, it's a level of comfort, and it just helps start things a little bit more positively.
Cannot agree more.
Yeah.
Well, David, you've been an absolute pleasure. Will always are a pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Happy to share an office with you guys.
Yeah.
And we're going to post all your links below where people can find you.
Okay.
So that'll be on all our platforms.
Okay.
But again, thank you so much for coming. It's been amazing. And to everyone out there, thank you again for tuning in. This is the #1 real estate podcast in Toronto. I said it here. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. This is Price to Sell, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.